share a story that reminds us of why we're here today. Not long ago, we cared for a Vietnam veteran, a man who had served in combat and carried heavy memories from that time. When we offered to have one of our veteran volunteers recognize him for his service, he refused. His homecoming years ago had been painful, and he said he was done with the government. When I learned that, I asked our medical director, Dr. Heck, to talk with him and to offer again, this time with a fellow Vietnam veteran, to do his recognition. After a long and thoughtful conversation, the patient said, maybe it's time. When our volunteer arrived, he said gently, we'll talk about whatever you want to talk about, and we won't talk about anything you don't want to. That visit lasted more than 2.5 hours. At the end, the patient shared that he had told this man things that he had never told another living soul. He even asked him to come back. Sadly, he passed away just 2 days later, but not before finding peace through that connection. That is why we do what we do, and why this ceremony matters. Today offers a safe space for our veterans and first responders to share their burdens, and for our community to come alongside them to honor their service and to help carry those burdens together. Thank you for being here, for remembering with us, and for standing beside one another in service, healing, and hope. Thank you. So before we begin today, I would ask that in order to preserve the honor and the integrity of today's program, that you turn your cell phone off. Not just on silent, not just on vibrate, but if you are able to completely turn your cell phone off, please do so now. My name is Angie Snyder, and I am the Executive Director of Opus Peace. I want to start by thanking Carrie Gibbons and Angela Cooper and Augusta Health and all the volunteers that are here today and that have worked behind the scenes for months to put this program together. Opus Peace is honored to have been asked to come here and to be a part of it. So this program today was developed by Opus Peace, which is a nonprofit with a mission of providing educational programs that respond to soul injuries. Opus Peace was started by 5 VA hospice nurses who you see up on this screen. They took care of more than 10,000 dying veterans on hospice. They saw soul injuries emerge as these veterans were dying. These hospice nurses often heard stories of unmourned loss and hurt, unforgiven guilt and shame, and fear of helplessness and loss of control. Today's program brings you the wisdom that these 10,000 dying veterans have shared. Today offers hope for healing unmourned loss and unforgiven guilt and shame. Today, you can participate in as much or as little of the program as you wish. You will even receive benefit by simply witnessing the program. So on behalf of Opus Peace, I welcome all of you here today. We gather together to heal the aftermath of war and trauma. Now I ask Karen Kinn to come forward to lead our program.
My name is Karen Kin. I'm an Opus Peace Ambassador and the recipient of the Opus Peace Mead Team Award for 2024. I want to thank the Waynesboro Fire Department Honor Guard. At this time, we'll stand for playing of the national anthem. Join together to say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. I now ask Reverend Carl Class to come forward and lead us in invocation that acknowledges the losses and hurts that men and women who have served in traumatizing environments often experience.
Let us turn to the words of Psalm 42, a prayer in times of distress. As a deer longs for flowing streams, so my soul longs for you, O God. My soul thirsts for God, for the living God. By day the Lord commands his steadfast love, and at night his song is with me, a prayer to the God of my life. I say to God, my rock, why have you forgotten me? Why must I walk about mournfully, because the enemy oppresses me? As with a deadly wound in my body, my adversaries taunt me. And while they say to me continually, where is your God? Why are you cast down, O my soul? And why are you disquieted within me? Hope in God, for I shall again praise him, and my help and my God. Let us pray. Eternal Father, you know the heart of warriors. You are intimate with the burdens that they carry. You are present with our first responders as they don the uniform of a defender of your people. All are your children who stand in opposition to a darkness that is oppressive, often wounding one's spirit. Lord, in those moments when we too ask, where is your God? For they are real. Give to us the very strength that first led us to the field of battle, to pursue your healing grace. Help us to let go of the darkness and rest in your loving arms, arms of forgiveness, arms of healing, and arms that transforms darkness into light, arms that bring a calm to a troubled heart with the fullness of your hope. We ask for courage to stare down our foe and lead us to still waters. We come before you this day not as individuals, but as families and as a community for whose love and compassion we are thankful, We are thankful for this community who are your servants of grace. Help us this day as we come together as one people to carry the weight of service, just as our warriors carried one another in the heat of battle. Stand with us in this sacred time of shared healing. May all we do this day lead us to a place of healing, of hope, and of peace. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend. At this time, I'd like to ask Dale White and Tony Heiser to come forward to lead this program.
We are not here today to honor or mourn those who have died in service to our country. Memorial Day is the day for that. Rather, we are here today to honor those who survived and carried the burden and the heartache from their non-combat military service. Dangerous duty assignments change people. The person returning from war is not the same person who left for war. So we are also here to honor family members of veterans. Family members suffer the loss of the loved ones they used to know. We will also honor new first responders who have been loved. We will also honor first responders who have been changed by the dangerous duty assignments they have faced on a daily basis. To do that, we turn our attention to something that our country often fails to do. We want to acknowledge the grief and guilt veterans and first responders often carry. Grief and guilt that we, as civilians, don't usually want to hear about. Grief and guilt that veterans and first responders often bear, causing it to hide deep in their souls. Like dark companions, unmourned loss and hurt, as well as unforgiven guilt and shame haunt them. It becomes stored in their bodies, in their minds, in their spirits. We are here today to liberate this kind of soul injury.
Most veterans and some first responders have told VA hospice nurses how the military and dangerous duty assignments shaped their lives in a positive way that helped them develop responsibility, commitment, and discipline. But those dying veterans also talk about the soul injury they received while serving their country. Talks about soul injury often come in a moment of despair or after they received a terminal diagnosis or after a loved one has died. This soul injury is not spoken about openly and is often carried like it's a well-kept secret. Bringing these hurtful experiences out in the open in no way discounts the positive impact the military exerts on people in the armed forces. However, these positive values are often recognized while the injurious effects are sometimes ignored or minimized. Dying veterans know something that other veterans do not. Dying veterans have a wisdom that emerges at the end of life. And if it is one thing the veterans have taught us, it is this. Boxing up emotional pain, guilt, shame, and helplessness causes your vitality, your personhood, to be boxed up as well, causing a soul injury. What 10,000 dying veterans have taught us is that disconnecting from the part of self-carrying the pain and guilt is a recipe for creating a soul injury. They have taught us that grieving and forgiving is the way to retrieve that life.
On a battlefield, you cannot stop to mourn the death of a comrade or the emotional wounds your buddies received. After the battle is over, veterans are told to suck it up, get over it, or any other countless and cruel ways we have of saying, don't feel your pain, numb it out, don't be human. Today's ceremony provides a safe sanctuary for veterans who are adversely affected by their military experience, first responders who were adversely affected by dangerous duty assignments, as well as their family members, veterans, first responders, and family members. You will be surrounded by people not traumatized by military service and dangerous duty assignments. All of them are here because they care about your feelings.
Like some of you, my soul has been injured during military service. And I've carried pain and shame for things I have experienced in the military. A pain that I shared with no one. What I want you to know is that opening my heart to the pain that memories carry was very frightening. I did it anyway. I participated in one of these ceremonies 4 years ago. It changed my life and it changed my family's life. I am standing here to tell you, this is an opportunity to heal the wounds that you may still be carrying. I know from time to time, you might creep back into the pain and the fear of your traumatic. Most of us around have been. Those with you here can help you find your way. Allow yourself to listen deeply. Listen to yourself, especially to that part of you that still carries your pain. If tears come, allow them. Each of our souls needs to heal. We can heal them together.
We hope that today you'll let yourself grieve freely in whatever way feels comfortable to you. Certainly, this is the time, and this is the place. Unfortunately, many of us have been taught to value grief, have not been taught to value grief, nor have we been taught how to grieve. Instead, we've been taught to be stoic, to cover up the pain and sorrow. But today we let ourselves grieve so we can be set free. Grief is the normal, natural, human response to loss. In fact, there's a famous saying that goes like this: those who grieve well, heal well. Let's say that out loud together. Join me. Those who grieve well, heal well. Grieving helps us to release the pain so we can let go of the past and be in the present moment. People who have been traumatized have a hard time being in the present moment because unmourned loss and hurt unconsciously keeps them stuck in the past, always on guard, and fearful of disarming their heart lest it be traumatized again.
Today, we want to change that. Today, we want to restore wholeness to broken souls. We are going to utilize an age-old ceremony used to integrate warriors back into society. This ceremony acknowledges the unmourned losses and unforgiven grief that often sabotages lives, bringing emotional pain out of the dark into the light. It is important, often neglected, step in healing that we, as civilians, have overlooked for far too long, as this slideshow reveals.
Every veteran here today has a story. We are going to listen to one veteran's story. He may say something that triggers you, or gives you anxiety, or makes you want to shut down. I want to show you a technique that will help you stay grounded when that occurs. When you're relaxed, your energy is down here. When you get upset, your energy comes up here. Think about what we do when we get bad news. We gasp, we clasp our chest, and open our palm. Why do we do that? Because unconsciously, the gesture grounds us. It holds us in our own skin. It secures us, it keeps us anchored to ourselves. Today, we encourage you to stay connected to yourself by using the anchoring heart technique of holding your heart, breathing deeply, and being mindful of your anxiety. Audience members, if you see someone struggling beside you, reach over and place your hand firmly on his or her back. You don't need to say anything, just let them know that you have their back. Know also that if needed, you can step outside the room, regain yourself, and then step back in. At this time, I ask Dr. Marsh, please come forward and share your story.
Thank you, Karen. I needed that relaxation stuff myself before coming up here. And I appreciate the opportunity to be here. And I look out and I see a lot of familiar faces, a lot of friends, and that support really helps me when I'm in an event like this. When Carrie asked me a couple months if I would do this, I said yes, I would. That reminded me of my days when I signed up to be a paratrooper. It sounded like a really good idea when I signed up. But as I got closer to jumping out of the airplane, it brought more attention to me, and I got more concerned that I make the right decision. Now that I'm up here in the aircraft, I can tell you, I still have those butterflies in my stomach. I am not a public speaker. My father was, and I think anybody who's heard him would tell you that he was a great speaker. I tend to speak from my heart, so please forgive me if I mess up. I think it's great that we could have this opportunity today to really recognize veterans and their families, and to understand maybe the healing process that needs to occur. You know, veterans I've seen this as both being a veteran, and I've seen this as taking care of veterans. You know, I see there are four types of, and I call them scars. We call them injuries. I call them scars because an injury turns into a scar, doesn't it? Right? You get injured, it turns into a scar. So I refer to them as scars. The first scar is the overall scar you might see. Someone's lost a leg, an arm, or had a traumatic brain injury, something that really affected their body overall. Secondly, then there are health scars. And this is something maybe Agent Orange exposure that didn't get you right away but get you later. Exposure to toxins and smoke and things that first responders experience. Or, you know, it also could well be the arthritis that you get from being in the Army and the service. You know, being in the military is a lot like being a professional athlete. You are always busy, you're always doing something. Third type of scar you see is the scar that happens with your family. You know, you miss weekends, you miss birthdays, anniversaries, and you know, sometimes your military service could lead to divorce for whatever reason. But the fourth scar, this is the scar we're talking about here this afternoon, is the emotional scar on your soul that military service, veteran service, or being a family member or a first responder leaves in your heart. And that often is hard to recognize, the soul scars that we have. And so it's great that we could have this opportunity today to share and to recognize that. And my story is just one of many stories that are out here. You know, normally when I speak, a lot of people associate me and what I speak about with the Battle of Mogadishu, Somalia, that happened in October of 1993. I was a doctor there. Also got a lot of attention when the book and the movie came out, Black Hawk Down. Yeah, that was a horrible combat. Within 24 hours, we had 18 deaths and 200 casualties. and it has really impacted my life. And looking back on that event, I sort of seen some of the quotes that were up here. Remember one by Robert E. Lee, and that he gave after the Battle of Fredericksburg in December of 1862. He said, "It is well that war is so terrible, lest men become fond of it." And you always got to remember, we're always quick to jump into battle, but conflict has consequences. But that's not the conflict I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to talk about one that I rarely talk about because maybe that starts a little bit deeper in me. And I'm going to talk about it because I haven't done it much before. And it strikes me more personally, where the other one was a major joint thing. I'm going to talk about one that occurred to me 2 years prior during Desert Storm in the winter of 1991. We all remember Desert Storm. That was our so-called feel-good war, right? We went in there fast, a lot of people, coalition. The actual ground war lasted only 100 hours. It was very successful. We came home, we celebrated. It's such an unrecognized war that I noticed when I look at the fallen comrades, they don't have a Desert Storm display, which is fine. There were a little bit only over 100 casualties from Desert Storm, though 7% of those came from my unit. And that is what I want to talk about today. And at the time, it was up until recently, what we did in the special ops unit I was with was classified about Desert Storm, but a lot of it's been released. As to set the stage, if you remember, Saddam Hussein in 1990 invaded Kuwait and took over that country. A coalition was formed, primarily NATO countries and the Arab countries, and the goal was to have a massive invasion into Kuwait and Iraq, sort of a World War II type vintage operation. Saddam Hussein, very smart man, he thought he was going to try to break that coalition up by bringing Israel into the fight. The Israelis had said, "Hey, this is not our dog, we're not into this fight, nothing's happened to us." Saddam felt that if he could get the country of Israel involved, then it would split the coalition and maybe he could get a peace arrangement. So what he tried to do was to make it their fight. So he had these Scud missiles, and he was launching them towards Israel with the goal of causing damage to the country of Israel so that they would enter the fight and break up the coalition. When the Arab War started, and they first started launching those Scuds, the Air Force tried with their aircraft to destroy them, but they were very good about moving them around. So the decision was made to send a special operations units in there and to hunt the Scuds down, identify them with a laser, send the information to the Air Force so that they could be destroyed. And so what my unit was tasked to do, we were tasked to provide maybe up to 10 teams, small teams, scattered throughout western Iraq with the goal of hunting down these Scud missiles. We were augmented by the British SAS, who had 5 teams, so there were a total of 15. We had a unit element that was the reaction force. Should a team get in trouble, we would go in and bail them out or extract them. We also had a medevac teams that I was in charge of, that we would go in and medevac guys back who've been injured so they can continue the mission without doing an extraction. We also had the requirement to get any downed pilots that went down into Iraq. One of the first missions went on without incident. We had some casualties. We had to use the reaction force, but things went according to plan, generally. But it didn't on one night, and this is what I want to talk about this afternoon. And it happened in mid-February. We got the call that one of our operators was severely injured, and he was in northwest Iraq. It was going to be a 2-hour helicopter flight to go get him. We've elected to send 2 Black Hawk helicopters there. They always want to travel in pairs. The pilots of the Task Force 160th known as Night Stalkers, were going to be flying. It was going to be a nighttime operation. Since it was medevac, it was under my command. So I was said, I will go in one helicopter, and I'm going to take my junior medic, Otto Clark, in the second helicopter. If we get there and we find the casualties really severe, I'll ask Sergeant Clark to join me on the evac helicopter, and we'll go back together. If not, we'll stay on separate aircraft. So I got all my gear together. I put it on that helicopter. I was in 5 minutes of getting ready to launch. I went back to the operations center because I wanted to check on something, get any final details, and I wanted to get 2 units of blood. So I thought I might need those. So I got my 2 units of blood. As I was walking to the top, I heard all the commotion. One of our other teams, which was 1.5 hours away, got into a bad firefight. And we didn't know how many casualties they were taking, but they could not extract themselves. We were going to have to send the reaction force to get them. Another British SAS team had the Brits had lost trauma with them, and they were concerned that something had happened to them, and we may need to go find them. They were only about 30 minutes away. That changed everything in a span of a few minutes. Here I'm thinking I'm going to go on a medevac, and now I've got a much bigger problem right in front of me. I made the split decision. I said, I'm not going on the medevac. I'm going to send my senior medic, Rod Rodriguez, to go. These men I knew well. I had handpicked them to join the unit. They were more than just my medics. They were my friends. They would come out to the house for dinner. I knew their families. I took care of them at the unit. We were really close. So I knew Rodriguez would do a great job. I gave him the same instructions that I had told Clark, is that if they're not serious, they one helicopter, but if it is, both of you guys be on the same chopper. So those choppers launched for the medevac. We were getting ready for the reaction launch. We had all our equipment to go. The helicopter, we had 4 helicopters. They were revving up, and just as we were getting ready to launch, word came to stand down. That team that was in that direct firefight were able to break contact. They got back into the hills. They were hiding. We thought best not to go in and stir things up. We would reassess the situation in 12 hours. The British SAS team that we had lost contact with made it back into our command post, and so they were safe without problem. Mission quiet for right now, and all we had was that medevac going up to the northwest for the 1 casualty. You know, I sort of felt maybe I made the wrong decision. Maybe I should have been on that aircraft. That man would have needed me, but I knew Rodriguez and Clark were good, and you make the decisions you make and you live with them. So I made that decision. And then I went to my medical station to prepare for their return. We knew what time they would be back. They were scheduled to land at 1:10. We had no radio communication with them because of all the anti-aircraft fire. They didn't want to get off their location. So at 1:10, the first helicopter arrives. They report to us that the second helicopter is traveling 7 minutes behind them because of heavy anti-aircraft fire. They didn't want both aircraft at the same time. And he also told me that the casualty was severe, and Sergeant Clark joined Sergeant Rodriguez on that aircraft. I waited. It's very unusual for a second aircraft from the Task Force 160th not to show up. There it was 30 minutes later, and I felt that there was a problem. But maybe it was they just went down, maybe something happened, and things will be all right. 2 hours later, my worst fears were realized. That Black Hawk helicopter crashed or was down, all 7 people killed. The 2 pilots, the 2 crew chiefs, my 2 medics, and my 1 friend, the operator, who was severely injured. And that happened in the flash of a second. I don't think I can tell you, and I think you can understand the reaction I had in my gut. I think it was probably one of the most terrible moments in my life, and it happened. And I couldn't do anything about it. You know, we still had to prepare, we had to be ready to go again if something happened. I had to find more medics to grabbed the other four and told them, you guys, you're it, you're up. But that feeling I had, that loss I had, plus the fact that I think I should have been on that aircraft, but I wasn't on that aircraft, it hurt. That morning, I couldn't sleep that night. So early in the morning, I put on my equipment, and I thought I'd walk the perimeter. So that's something I could do. I could get off some energy. So I walked that perimeter. And I remember something my commander, General Garrison, told me. He said, Marsh, combat is unforgiving and unpredictable. Don't be sorry for what you can't control. But I thought about that, but it still bothered me. It just bothered me. And there was a thick fog over our compound. And I don't know why. It was in a desert, and we had this fog, and I thought it was really unusual. And I was walking through that fog, the sun started to come up. And when the sun came up, it was breaking through that fog. And there was a rainbow like that was seen over here on that picture. It was the most beautiful rainbow I had ever seen in my life. I can see when you talk about Noah, and Noah saw that rainbow. That's what it reminded me of. And it reminded me that God doesn't cause war. Sinful men cause war. God is in control, and God has a plan for each of us. And I felt better after seeing that rainbow. This time in my life, just for my career, I've been a doctor. I was a Special Forces medic for 6 years. So I was the same thing that Sergeant Clark and Sergeant Rodriguez were. I was a Special Forces medic for 6 years. Got fortunate enough to go to med school. I was assigned to, as a doctor after my internship, I did a surgical internship. I was assigned to a doctor as a special operations unit. I've been there 7 years doing this kind of stuff, and I loved it. I loved it. I mean, there were never a moment like this. But prior to that, I loved it. But I hadn't decided what I wanted to do as a doctor. I thought maybe I would be a general surgeon or maybe an emergency room doctor. But that day, somehow the Holy Spirit got into me, and he said, Marsh, you need to be a family practitioner. And that got into my heart. And I left that morning. I still had grief. I still felt bad, but I felt there was more of a plan in my life. And so when we came back, we had some more missions to do. And 3 days later, the war was over, right? The war was over, 100-hour war. By that time, the war was over. We're all back. We had to stay in the desert for another 3 or 4 months waiting for things to fully calm down. But when we came back, there wasn't any big ceremony. There wasn't any big parades. Our missions were classified, but the loss still hurt us, right? Again, no one really, it doesn't matter whether thousands of men die or one man dies, it still gets into your heart. And so losing my close friends and 7 men at one time and being involved in that decision making, that was tough for me. But it was my faith that got me through it. I think why this is important, all of us as veterans or even non-veterans or first responders, we have these feelings and things in our life that happen that we can't control. And there's this brotherhood among us of things that we are who we are because of these events. People ask me all the time, they say, Rob, how do you do what you do? How did you do this? How do you continue to do this? And I tell them, there are 3 things. My faith has allowed me to deal with my past. My faith allows me to deal with the present. And my faith allows me to deal with what I know will be the future. And, shortly from now, and I don't mean to steal thunder, unfortunately I have to leave, go back to the hospital after this. But there's going to be a ceremony where we're going to write on a rock our soul star. And we're going to give that up. And tonight, my soul star is Desert Storm. But you know what? my Savior, Jesus Christ, is going to take that rock from me. And my Savior, Jesus Christ, has turned that rock. He will turn that rock into my cornerstone. And I will continue to live my life. Because that's what he has given me. He is my cornerstone. And I think it is my faith which got me through. I just want to close. I want to thank everyone for coming here, listen to my story. God bless and Godspeed. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Marsh. I ask that all of us take a moment of silence to simply bear witness to the pain that each of our souls hold. Pain that we may have forgotten, yet it lives on in our lives and in our bodies. The pain that war and violence causes for all of us. So let's place our hands tenderly over our hearts as we honor that part of ourselves that has mustered the strength to carry the pain of war and violence. Let us validate the load this part of self is carrying.
I want to give our veterans and first responders the opportunity to briefly share a story of loss, pain, guilt, shame, or helplessness. You can stay at your seat. You don't have to say a lot. You know this is just the tip of the iceberg. But healing begins when we can acknowledge the loss to other trustworthy people. The people around you are trustworthy. After the program is over, you are welcome to stay and share even more of your story at that time. Who's going to be the first to wave slowly? I have cord, don't worry. Anybody carrying something on their heart that they would like to share?
I'll go. My name is Comrade. I served in OAS 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and I have survivor's guilt because I was the first guy to raise their hand when they asked for volunteers to go to Iraq, and we lost one of our best friends. Oh, and we had kids. He was the only one out of us that had kids, little kids, and I didn't get to go to the funeral because we were deployed, and I never got to see my wife or kids ever again, and it's horrible.
Sharon. Most no chaplains are non-combatants, but we're with combatants. Like Dr. Marsh, my faith got me through being the regimental chaplain for 8th Marines in Fallujah, laying hands on 72 KIA over the course of a year, and 1,000 injured. But like what my fellow service member just shared, this past June was 20 years to the date that 5 Marines and 1 sailor who were part of regular protection force for the chaplain, were blown up in a suicide vehicle borne IED. And I thought I dealt with that until I realized this June that they would be in their 40s now. They all died in their early 20s. And I thought about their families, thinking about what they might be doing with their lives now, had they made it. And why did an old 40-something chaplain then get to come home and they didn't? And it weighs heavy.
I really didn't want to do this. I know we suffered some loss. I suffered loss. I also met people that would help guide me to the point that I am in my life now. I gained a brother. My brother's sitting here right with me now. We were in Vietnam basically the same period of time. We were in different units, but we shared a bond. He was a dog handler, and in no way in the world I could ever conceive that, because every time the dogs came out, nothing good happened. But I got a brother. I met a chaplain over there named Banner. I looked him up, and he has since passed. But he set the tone for me to walk out the fall and winter of my life's journey. When he set up an altar out of ammo boxes, he was Protestant chaplain. When he set that altar up, there was no boundaries or restrictions. Everybody showed up. Black guys, white guys, Spanish guys, Jewish guys, Catholic guys, non-believers, but they all showed up because he brought peace. And in that mess, when he showed up, he brought peace for a little bit of time. Out of that, kind of guided the direction for the end of my life, and I did meet my brother, that we walked together in ministry now, but we shared the battlefield together. Thank you.
I have a story for you. I think I can do it. My wife says I can do it. Oh, you want to be quick? Yes. Well, this is pretty long story. October 28th, 1968. Two of my best friends I had been with all year. They were due to rotate. So I loaded them up in my Jeep and I took them down to the airstrip. We say our goodbyes, and they're going to send us a penny box, if anybody knows what a penny box is, but when they get back to the States, they go to the store and buy a bunch of junk and they mail it to you. It's a penny box. So I'm standing there, they get on the plane, we say our goodbyes, the plane takes off about a half a mile from into the airport, the helicopter comes up, they collide. The plane they're in just rolls right over and dives in the ground. And that reminds me of what Marsh said, that initial feeling that you get in your gut when you see it, you know they're dead. Everybody on the plane, everybody on the helicopter is dead. But to make matters even worse for me, I go back to the company area and the captain comes up and says they're collecting the bodies in a tent down by the first aid, and they want somebody from every unit to go down to help identify these bodies. Think about that. So, I go down, there's the tent, we're standing in line to go in to help identify. And as soon as I walk in, you smell the jet fuel, you smell the death, you smell it all as soon as you walk in the tent. And laying right there was 3 rows, right in the front row was Goins. He had went home early because he extended, he had met a girl, so he got married, he came back to Vietnam, He was very naive. Me and Harry Drum, my best buddy, we helped him write love letters back to his girlfriend. His plan was to go back to Hawaii and marry this girl. Okay, that was his plan. When I walked in the tent, he was the very first one to see. He was laying right there. He looked perfectly fine, except he had a big gash here, and that was it. So I pointed him out. They really didn't need me to identify him because they had his dog tags on and he was perfectly fine. So then I walked down this way and I go to the next two rows, and I'm looking for Peralt. Now, Peralt was a blonde-haired boy, had false teeth. He was from New Hampshire. He had already planned and enrolled into college and was going to go to school. So I walk down the aisle and I see Peralt. Again, Peralt looks pretty good. I mean, his teeth are gone. He had false teeth. They were missing. I don't know what happened to them. But the problem with this is, I think,
You want me to finish? I don't even like, what my husband's trying to say is, he is a husband, he was a father, and he's a grandfather. He feels guilty for his life because his friends never get there to do that.
he didn't have a wife. They didn't have to marry. They never had a wife.
Veterans and first responders, raise your hands. We want to give you a rock to symbolize the losses that you have sustained. Keep your hands up for the ladies to bring your rock around, if you can. Veterans and first responders. Here it comes. Okay, we've got a few back here in the back there. Okay, on your rock, write down a loss or losses that you've not fully let go. Maybe comrades who died in battle, or maybe it's the loss of a comrade's emotional health due to PTSD or depression. Or maybe it's comrades you've not kept in touch with, or yet you still worry about them. The loss might be a native, a citizen, or an enemy combatant who is nameless, but you still carry their face in your mind. Maybe it's not a person, but rather a situation, or a place, or an event that still haunts you. Maybe it's an assault that happened within your own ranks, or an unfair military administrative action taken against you. Maybe it is a family event you missed while you were deployed, or family relationships that were neglected because of your absence. Whatever it is, take this moment to write down anything that might still be troubling your soul. Take your time, choose something that you feel ready to release, and then write it on your rock. Go ahead and do that now.
Did every veteran and first responder who wants one get a rock and a Sharpie? Everyone get one? We encourage you to take one, even if you think you don't want one, just in case you change your mind. That way you'll have some more control and choice as we move ahead in this ceremony. Now I want you to take your rock and turn it over to the other side. With your Sharpie on the other side, we want you to write your own name on that side of the rock. Remember, we're here to honor you, the part of you that's been carrying the burden of loss, hurt, guilt, shame, or helplessness.
Family members, we acknowledge your losses too. I'm going to play a 5-minute video to tell us what that might look like.
My husband is a former Marine. When I was 7 years old, Bruce was in the jungles of Vietnam fighting for his life and for his comrade fight. And when I met him 20 years later, he was the embodiment of John Wayne. He was proud, tough, good-looking, and always in charge. Yet he was always so very tender with me. The night that Bruce asked me to marry him, he told me this hilarious story about being ambushed in Vietnam. And he was so wounded that they thought he was dead. And with the humor of a stand-up comedian, this man described how they placed him in a body bag. But before they closed it, the corpsman saw him move ever so slightly. And he had me laughing so hard at the way he shared his story. I almost couldn't breathe. And the seriousness and the horror of what this man had just shared with me never registered. And it didn't seem to register with him either. We married 36 years ago, and the first 9 years were just simply amazing. Then the coal mine that he worked at was sold, and a new company came in and severed out the entire supervisory staff. And suddenly my Bruce was 50 years old, and he had no job. And he became so isolated, angry, irrational, condemning, and unable to hold down a job. And we went from not wanting for anything to not even being able to afford $5 to get my son a haircut. I began to take on more responsibility so that he didn't have to deal with the stress of all this. And he began to move from one job to the next, often just quitting. Finally, he went to the VA, and we were told about post-traumatic stress disorder. What a relief. We didn't have time for the craziness. But his condition continued to escalate. And then I had this brilliant idea that I could cure him of his PTSD. So I relieved my job as a hospice nurse. Are you ready? I became an over-the-road truck driver with him. You see, my rationale was if I was with him, then I could control all the triggers, and if he wasn't triggered, he could function, and he could continue being the man of the home and take care of the family. Well, that only lasted about 4 months, because I was terrified that I was not competent enough to ensure that our children would not end up as orphans. And Bruce couldn't help me. So I returned to nursing, where Bruce continued in this downward spiral. 2 years ago, Bruce attended a fallen comrade ceremony, and he learned about soul victory, and our lives were profoundly changed from that moment forward. He was able to find a measure of peace that now allows him to actively participate in living life. And he will tell you, there's no cure, but the emotional gift he received at the fallen comrade ceremony has helped him to enjoy his life. And me? Well, I have a new husband, and I'm now discovering how to live a new life. So I hope that today we can address the soul injury that families often endure, and that our families sustain in the aftermath of war and trauma. I hope that we, as civilians, will learn how to be safe havens for the pain, the shame, and that horrible sense of helplessness that families often carry.
How many here are like Sue? You have been impacted because someone you loved served in a dangerous duty assignment in the military or as a first responder. Stand up and please stay standing. This is for family members. Those of you who are sitting, are you sure there's no one in your family traumatized? No one here had a grandparent who served in World War II? Maybe even before you were born. Stand up. I guarantee you, this impacted you even though you weren't born yet. Other family members who served in a dangerous duty assignment, maybe a parent, a spouse, an ex-spouse, a sibling, a child, a grandchild, or a close friend. Those of you who are sitting, look around and see who is standing. The reason I'm having you do this, the reason I'm having you do that is because these people who are standing may not talk about how hard it is to send someone off to war or off to a dangerous duty assignment, or have them come back changed. They may not talk about how hard it is to be born into a family that was already ravished by war before they were even born. It is up to all of us who are sitting to be a safe haven for those who are standing, for their healing. Because if it's one thing we know, it's that the way we heal our nation after war is that it requires every single one of us. No one is immune.
For those standing, we invite you to be seated. So you see how often we're blind to the unmourned losses and hurts that are right in our very midst. The These losses affect us, even if we're not aware of it. Maybe you signed up for this ceremony as a civilian. Maybe after hearing all that has been said today, you're beginning to realize that you too have been impacted. Maybe you signed up as a family member and are just now realizing the cost of war for yourself as a family member. Maybe you're now recognizing that your loved one came back from the military or dangerous duty assignment forever changed.
If any of you family members would like to briefly acknowledge the impact the military, war, or dangerous duty assignments as a family member of a first responder have had on your family, we would like to hear about it.
Barbara Goff. My husband served in Vietnam 67 to 68. Came home different, and I didn't, I'm a nurse. Nurses think we can solve everything, we can do everything, but I had no idea what he had lived through, because we didn't talk about it, like most of them. My dad was in World War II, he didn't talk about the war, he talked about the funny things that happened. So our family fell apart after 30 years. I couldn't be one to give out the rocks. So here I am getting a rock, but I didn't know. So this helped me feel what, I couldn't get him to talk about it. I just couldn't do what I thought I was supposed to do. I see some buddies there nodding. Yeah. Thank you.
Anyone else want to share? Family members?
I'm kind of odd to be on this side of it. I'm a military combat veteran. I'm also a son, grandson, a grandnephew, brother, a veterans, a friend, touch of large community. The way he talked about his time in the service, you looked up that he spent 20 years in there, and he passed away. I looked at his DD 14, he spent 2 years, 3 months in the military. Had a huge impact on his life. It also had a huge negative impact on his life. Growing up, none of us would ever work him up without either pushing him from his feet or from the opposite side of the room. He never went to Vietnam, but he was one of the few that volunteered and wanted to go. He wanted to serve his country. As did my other friends and family. So it's had a huge impact on my life. We have learned a lot since I served. When I got out, we were just coming up with names for the things we experienced. Like PTSD and understanding what it was we went through. I grew up knowing that my dad was a hero and his own son, but not understanding the impacts.
sure many of us share that experience specific.
If you're a family member of a veteran or first responder changed by trauma, consider using a rock to help you heal that wound. War and violence changes people forever. If you, as family members, did not mourn the changes you experienced to your traumatized veteran or first responder, then I guarantee you that in that subtle or not so subtle way, you'll be trying to make that person go back to the way they used to be, which only causes conflict for you and for her or him. You too need to let yourself grieve the loss of the person you used to know before they were traumatized. So those of you who stood earlier because you have a family member who was traumatized by their military experience or dangerous duty assignments as a first responder, and you've not completely accepted the adverse changes that it caused, please consider taking a rock and writing their name upon it.
Now turn your rock over and write your name on the other side of the rock. Remember, we're here to honor your loss, your pain, your guilt.
Now I want all veterans, first responders, and family members to hold the rock that symbolizes the part of you that is still carrying unmourned grief for this person or this situation that you've written down. Close your eyes. This rock that you hold is the part of you that you have banished into unconsciousness because of the pain and helplessness you felt when someone you cared about lost their physical or emotional health. This rock is the part of you that you've disconnected from. This part of you that is holding your pain wants to come back home and be reunited with you. So instead of clutching your rock, I want you to consider releasing your grasp just a little bit. Just a little bit. Instead of holding your rock with fear and dread of the pain and helplessness you hold inside, I want you to consider that your fear of the pain may be worse than the pain and helplessness itself. Loosen your grasp on fear of pain now. Gradually allow tenderness and compassion for yourself and the losses you sustained to emerge. This part of you holding your pain needs you. It needs your self-compassion. Now I invite you to open your eyes. written on the rock. This name represents the loss you've been carrying. So recall the loss of this person or situation that you've written on this rock, who remains heavy on your heart and soul. It's time to release these dead or injured souls.
Now I ask that all veterans, first responders, and family members of veterans hold the rock tenderly in your hands before you. Imagine placing the person whose name is on the rock in the Creator's hands. However you conceptualize that to be, the eternal source from which they came and have or will return. Let yourself mourn their physical and emotional death.
As a veteran or first responder who has survived dangerous duty assignments, or as a family member who cares for a veteran or first responder who was changed by dangerous duty assignments, you have witnessed the physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual deaths of men and women you loved.
Please repeat after me. You have witnessed the pain of humanity.
You have witnessed the pain of humanity. As a veteran or first responder who has survived dangerous duty assignments, or as a family member who cares for such a veteran or first responder, you have witnessed the physical, mental, or emotional deaths of men and women who may have been or who may have become your enemy.
You have witnessed the pain of humanity.
You have witnessed the pain of humanity. As a veteran or first responder who has survived dangerous duty assignments, it has been your sacred responsibility to carry the memory of the dead or the wounded. This responsibility has been both a burden and a solace.
You have fulfilled your responsibility.
You have fulfilled your responsibility. Veterans and first responders, you have not betrayed or forgotten the memory of the dead or wounded.
You have honored the dead and the wounded.
You have honored the dead and the wounded. This understanding has changed your life forever, for better or for worse.
These experiences have changed who you are.
These experiences have changed who you are. Veterans and first responders, before you say goodbye to a fallen or wounded comrade, or family members, before you say goodbye to the veteran or first responders you used to know before they were traumatized, there may be something you want to say that you didn't get to say before. I'm not going to ask that you cultivate self-compassion or compassion that maybe you've not allowed yourself to have before. Let yourself have some compassion for the helplessness and the situation you were in. Release yourself from the requirements that you be perfect, that you could have known what was beyond your control to know, that you could or should have done it differently. I invite you to close your eyes again. Hold your rock tenderly in both hands over your heart. In the silence of your heart, ask your fallen comrade or your changed family member for forgiveness. forgive them for anything that they specifically did or did not do that hurt you. Silently thank them for the specific ways they've impacted your life. And if you feel love for them, tell them that now. If you don't, simply hold them in peace. And now, tell them goodbye. Let their spirit give you inspiration and guidance for the rest of your lives, so that their lives or their physical or emotional deaths will not have been in vain.
It is now time to release these people and events to God, to the earth, and to each other. So take a few deep breaths as you slowly open your eyes. Veterans and first responders, first raise your rock if you can, and keep it there for a moment. Now, veterans and first responders, let's address your comrades by saying slowly together, "Dear comrades and dangerous duty events, I give you up to the earth
And to the Creator.
and to the Creator. I will remember you always, but now it is time for both of us to rest."
Join me in saying, "Then you will find peace." Now, family of traumatized veterans and first responders, raise your rock, if you can, and keep it there for a moment. Now repeat after me, and the words are on the screen. Dear loved ones, I knew you before the trauma. I no longer require that you go back to the way you used to be. I say goodbye to that person, even though it hurts. I release you who you used to be, and I let you go. It is time for me to keep opening up to the changed person you are now. Then we can find peace in a new and different relationship.
Together, let us say, "Then you can find peace in a new and different relationship."
Veterans and first responders, it's time now for your fallen or wounded comrades to release you to your future. Let us ask their blessing as you journey forward. Veterans and first responders, repeat after me. Dear fallen comrades and dangerous duty events, you will always inspire me to become more the person I was created to be. I request your blessing in order to go on with my life. Release me to the world so that both of our spirits can be set free.
Together, let us say, be free now, let yourself go forward in peace. Your fallen comrades would want it to be so. All of you, veterans, first responders, and family members, bring your rock close to your heart now and hold it there. Shortly you will come forward and one by one place your rocks on the table. As you do, say the name out loud of the person or the event that you are grieving. If you are not ready to release your rock and you want to do something different with it on your own, feel free to bring your rock forward, hold it rather than placing it on the table, say the name or event, and then take the rock back with you to your seat. If you are unable to come to the table, Mary Scott will come get your rock for you. Just raise it up. So, veterans and first responders and family members, will you please come and bring your rock up to the table?
We've gathered the injuries our collective soul has carried. Let us pause to reflect on the honesty, courage, and humility it's taken today for all of us to carry and release this pain.
of your hands tenderly over your heart. Breathe deeply. Let yourself sit with any feelings that might be surfacing. Don't be afraid of the feelings. Don't try to numb the feelings. Take a deep breath. You have experienced many losses and hurts. Stop denying them. Just for this moment, get real with their reality. Validate how hard it is sometimes to shoulder the load you carry on many days. Breathe deeply. Keep holding your heart tenderly as you slowly open your eyes. As you do, let yourself connect to the part of yourself that has been holding the pain for you.
You may be seated. I want you to encourage you to take the memory of this moment of unburdening with you when you leave today. Use this memory of what you did here when those old thoughts recur in the future. It can be a powerful tool. Here is what one veteran who attended the ceremony said. I had 45 years of guilt that rumbled around in my Vietnam brain. When I wrote it down on those rocks at the Fallen Comrade ceremony, I released it. I felt free. Later, a thought would sometimes leak back in, and I would just tell it, no, remember, you don't live here anymore. You are on that rock now. Now we are going to show a slideshow. Civilians, I ask that you watch this closely. It will help you better understand how you can help us carry our memories.
Sometimes I'm in pain and I try to explain.
willing to bear witness to the load these men and women have held, these soul injuries that now lay on the table before you, then I ask you to come forward and take one of these rocks. Take it home with you. In the days ahead, find a way you can do something honorable with it. This is a serious commitment that cannot be taken casually. So only come forward if you're prepared to honor this commitment. If you are, come forward and retrieve a rock. Then return to your seat, remain standing.
Civilians, let's say this pledge in unison together. I pledge that I will safeguard this rock and the losses it represents. I will find an honorable place to secure the burdens this veteran or family member has held. I will not shirk this responsibility so that I can help heal our nation from the aftermath of war. I invite you to be seated.
Veterans and first responders, be assured that these citizens' pledge today means that no one is left behind.
Family members, let someone else help you hold the burdens of the loss of your loved one who used to be.
Civilians, extend both hands out towards the veterans, first responders, and their families. Veterans and first responders, do not extend your hands. Your job is to receive. You've given to your country, you've given to your community, you've given to your family. Let yourself sit back and absorb the blessings others have for you. Now, civilians, this time I want you to repeat after me. We came here tonight because we want to be with you.
We came here tonight because we want to be with you.
You need not carry your burdens alone.
You need not carry your burdens alone.
The trauma in your heart lives in our hearts too.
The trauma in your heart lives in our hearts too.
Tell us your story,
Tell us your story,
including the losses you have sustained.
including the losses you have sustained.
We want to be a safe sanctuary for you.
We want to be a safe sanctuary for you.
If we let you down, don't give up on us.
If we let you down, don't give up on us.
We are willing to learn.
We are willing to learn.
Let us heal our nation together.
Let us heal our nation together. Veterans and first responders, look around you. See the people that are here for you. Let this image linger in your mind for a moment. If you feel ready to start considering the possibility of releasing your pain and sharing it with others, simply open your hands, palms up, and breathe deeply. Let yourself absorb the hopes from those around you. Keep breathing deeply now while we play this slideshow that honors your service.
There are those who say the world is in a bad way. Too much grief, too many troubles to cut through. But I see a light there in the darkness, and it seems to be coming from you. And the world will see a better tomorrow. That's what every person deserves. Because you care, because you're there, because you serve. There are those who say that peace is just a pipe dream, that it's always been a planet filled with strife. But I look around and I see people who refuse to give up on love and life. And the world will see a better tomorrow. That's what every person deserves. Because you care, because you're there, because you serve. I know you're not in it for the glory. You're not looking for applause for what you do. But I see into your heart and witness who you are. And I've just got to stand and cheer for you. And the world will see a better tomorrow. That's what every person deserves. Because you care, because you're there, because you serve.
Men and women have defended America's freedom over the past 240 years. We call them veterans. Many served in war zones. Many did not. Non-combat sacrifices often overlooked or minimized. Yet non-combat dangerous duty assignments threaten the health of our military every day. Certainly, all veterans agree to give up their personal agendas to follow orders of the U.S. government to serve this country. As we have just witnessed, many veterans, combat and non-combat, carry emotional pain that characterizes working in the traumatizing environment. Pain that stoic militarized cultures often suppress, and pain that civilians often do not want to hear about. Today, we have become better informed about military life. Today, we have become more enlightened about the aftermath of war. Now we are prepared to properly honor our veterans. So at this time, I'd like to ask that anyone who has served in the military to please stand so we may acknowledge your sacrifices. And first responders. including the emotional pain you may have experienced, pain that will still carry to this day. I apologize, only veterans at this time. Remain standing, and everyone who is sitting, place both hands over your heart and bow your head towards the people who are standing, and silently, in whatever way you want, offer them your blessing. Those who are standing, take a moment to let yourself receive their blessing while staff come to honor you with a pen. When you are pinned, you may be seated. If you received your pin. Men and women have dedicated their lives to protecting and serving our communities every day. We call them first responders. Many have rushed toward danger, while others have stood ready, unseen, and always prepared. The sacrifices of those who serve in non-emergency roles are often overlooked or minimized. Yet every call, every shift, every moment of uncertainty carries its own form of danger. Danger that threatens not only the physical safety, but also the emotional and spiritual well-being. Every first responder agrees to set aside personal needs to answer the call of duty, to protect others, often at great personal cost. As we continue to come to understand that many first responders, whether firefighters, law enforcement officers, paramedics, dispatchers, or emergency personnel, carry invisible pain that comes from witnessing trauma, loss, and human suffering. It is a pain that stoic, service-driven cultures often suppress, and one that society sometimes struggles to acknowledge. Today, we are more aware of the toll that service takes on those who run towards crisis rather than away from it. Today, we are more enlightened about the emotional aftermath of a lifetime of responding to emergencies. So at this time, I'd like to ask that anyone who serves or is serving as a first responder, please stand. So we can honor not only your service and sacrifice, but also the emotional pain you may carry. Pain born from caring deeply, serving selflessly and showing up where the world needs you most. Remain standing, and everyone who is sitting, place both your hands over your heart and bow your head towards the people who are standing, and silently, in whatever way you want, offer them your blessing. Those who are standing, take a moment to let yourself receive their blessing while staff come to honor you with this plea. You may be seated. There are heroes among us who not only were not recognized as heroes, but were actually sworn for their military service in Vietnam. These men and women sustained emotional wounds made worse by American public's indignities towards them. We want to rectify the wrong that our Vietnam veterans sustained. We have beads here for you. The yellow, green, and red colors signify service in Southeast Asia. These beads are beads that can only be made by a Vietnam veteran and can only be given by one Vietnam veteran to another. These beads were made by Opus Peace President Marie Bainbridge and her husband Jim. Both are Vietnam veterans. I now ask our Vietnam vets, Jim, Allen, and Jean, come forward and to present the beads they are wearing. I apologize, Alan, for being missed on the okay. Now I ask that any participants who are Vietnam veterans please come forward. Vietnam veterans, please connect each other. Stay right here, Vietnam. Just stand here in the line while we try to stay.
First Air Cavalry. He was in the first cab.
You guys could just get in line for
Huh?
the friends.
First to seven. Hurry up, boy.
We have one more piece of unfinished business that is long overdue. Vietnam vets, you're all facing me, yay? Although we cannot rectify the wrongs that were done to you, we can ask your forgiveness now. So I ask that everyone who is sitting, place your hands on your heart and repeat after me. You came back home and suffered our scorn and indignities.
You came back home and suffered our scorn and indignities.
We recognize now how we hurt you.
We recognize now how we hurt you.
We were wrong to do that.
We were wrong to do that.
We ask for your forgiveness now.
We ask for your forgiveness now.
We hope to heal the wounds we caused you.
We hope to heal the wounds we caused you.
Please forgive us for forsaking you.
Please forgive us for forsaking you.
We want you to find peace. Peace at last.
We want you to find peace. Peace at last.
Vietnam veterans, please look up and receive your country's gratitude for your sacrifices.
All right.
If you have a family member who served in Vietnam, please stand. We acknowledge how our shunning of your loved ones impacted him or her and changed your relationship forever. Please know that we now regret that. Vietnam veterans, we hope that you wear these beads with honor. Please be seated. There are unsung heroes among us. These are the family members of veterans and first responders. Family members who often have to struggle with the chaos of the aftermath of trauma entails. So at this time, I'd like to ask that if you are a spouse, ex-spouse, parent, grandparent, sibling, child, grandchild, or adversely affected by their military or first responders experience, please stand so we can acknowledge how their pain has impacted you. Please remain standing, and everyone who is sitting, place both your hands over your heart and bow your head towards the people who are standing, and silently, in whatever way you want, offer them your blessing. Those who are standing, take a moment to let yourself receive the blessing while our staff comes around to honor you with a pin. Please pin our caregivers. There are civilians here today who have devoted their lives to caring for veterans. Many work for Department of Veterans Affairs or other governmental or non-profit agencies focused on veteran needs. So at this time, I'd like to ask that those of you who are working for agencies that focus on serving veterans and our families to please stand so we can acknowledge how veterans' pain has impacted you. Remain standing, and everyone who is sitting, place both your hands over your heart and bow your head towards the people who are standing, and silently, in whatever way you want, offer them your blessing. You may be seated, and thank you for helping our veterans. Waynesboro Fire Department, Honor Guard, please retrieve the colors. Please be seated. We are going to close with the Opus Peace vision, a vision that can help all of us heal from the aftermath of war. So together, say with me, cultivate in me the willingness to reclaim, and revitalize scattered pieces of myself, so wholeness can be restored. Grow in me the honesty, courage, and humility to release my fear of who I am and what I am not. Fuel me with your grace.
It's important to take time to reflect on a lot that has happened today. We'll have some food and fellowship in the back now that the ceremony is concluded, so we invite you to please join us and continue to share your stories and the impact that this ceremony has had on each and every one of you. Also, veterans, we ask that you also stop by the veterans table in the back, the VFW table, as special cards have been made for each veteran. Thank you for joining us today.